Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Horns Report here on KXAN Live. I'm Billy Gates, and this is the show where we talk about all things UT athletics. And with me today is the man, the myth, and the legend. He's Noah Gross, KXAN sports reporter. Noah, thanks for joining me today, man.
Thanks for the intro, Billy. Very nice.
You know, I do what I can. I got to gas you up sometime.
Somebody needs to. I don't hear it a lot.
That's a different discussion for a different day. That one might lead to some kind of therapy, I think. But anyway, before this goes completely off the rails, there are a couple things I want to talk about. Monday's practice, there's another injury in the backfield for the Texas Longhorns. And if you remember last week, C.J. Baxter lost for the season with a knee ligament injury, the PCL and the LCL, I believe. Those are torn for C.J. Baxter. He's going to need surgery. So he's done for the year. So that made the backfield a little bit thin.
Yeah.
Now it's even more thin. Noah, what do you know about this injury that's not really, the severity is not quite known? Like, who got hurt?
Yeah, so Christian Clark, one of the freshman running back, the reports out right now. Expect word from UT. Hopefully soon we'll hear from some players later tonight. So don't know if we'll get official word, but doesn't sound great. I mean, you don't expect a freshman to maybe impact a game right away, but with Texas's current running back situation, you probably need to. And there's been, you don't have to look too far back to see how impactful a freshman running back can be. You think back to Bijan Robinson a couple years ago in Texas, obviously his sophomore and junior season where he was the certified starter the entire season. But the freshman year got a ton of playing time, especially later in the season before an injury as well for him. So the Texas running back room, not where they want it to be right now. And losing Baxter, they have a couple guys behind him, and Trey Wisner and Jaden Blue that they seem to like, a lot of other people like as well. And I do, but they aren't the big physical back that Baxter was, the first and second down guy. So it's going to be interesting. And they've moved guys to running back and from running back in years past, guys like Roschon Johnson. Obviously, that's worked out pretty well for him. So we'll hear from Steve Sarkisian as this goes on. I think he said no official plan to move anybody yet, but they're kind of keeping their options open. And if Clark's injury is severe, Billy, you have to imagine they're going to add somebody to that room.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, because right now, if let's say Christian Clark is able to play, they have 4 scholarship running backs: Blue, Wisner, Clark, and Jarrett Gibson, another freshman that's been pretty impressive early on as far as Steve Sarkisian is concerned. And I mean, both those running backs are pretty highly touted freshmen coming in. So, I mean, we'll see. If Clark isn't able to play, I believe Ryan Niblett, a redshirt freshman wide receiver, there's been talk that maybe he goes into the backfield. And then I believe there's another guy from defense, a linebacker, Gillett, I think is his last name.
Yeah, Darion.
Darion Gillett. Chances that he might go. But, Sarkisian didn't commit to that when he was asked about it yesterday when we had a chat with him. But he did say it was on the table. So it's one of those wait-and-see things.
Yeah, a lot of reporting right now, and it's unfortunate where the media windows of seeing practice are kind of over now for the fall, or at least they seem to be, and that's probably smart by Texas as things are shuffling right now. But and we'll get into this, Billy, but as Texas, we're showing a lot of video wide receivers right now.
Yeah.
The wide receiver room looks pretty loaded for Texas, but they lost their 5 leading receivers last year, and Whittington, Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Jatavian Sanders, and Jonathan Brooks as well. Those 5 guys are all gone. They're replacing a ton of talent in the running back, tight end, especially the wide receiver room. So this running back injury, now injuries puts more pressure on Quinn Ewers, you would think at least. And early in the season, when chemistry is not what it's going to be late in the season with these new receivers, man, that's a bit of a concern for Texas and their fan base as well. When Ewers obviously took that next step last season, but is he ready to shoulder as much load as he's probably going to have to this season? That seems to be a bit of an issue here early on. And it's not like they have that cupcake SEC non-conference schedule a lot of teams have. Reigning national champions in week 2.
Yeah. then that's going to be a great game. So that's going to be a top 10 matchup for sure. We'll get to rankings in a second. I just want to say one thing about Quinn Ewers and his receivers. Steve Sarkisian was asked about that specifically Monday, and he said that the receiver room is so deep, and this includes the tight ends as well, Gunnar Helm, Amari Nyblack, and Juan Davis. He said the receiver room is so deep that they're able to kind of mix and match guys with the first team pretty much on a constant basis. So Ewers has been able to kind of develop that early chemistry, that rapport with a lot of different guys. That includes the transfers, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden, and Isaiah Bond. I was blanking on Isaiah
we're
Bond.
A team,
like how could I forget about Isaiah Bond, the guy from Bama?
Yeah.
Or Silas Bolden, the guy from my home, Oregon State.
Well, I was going to say more on all the transfers and the chemistry today in KXAN News at 6. We heard from Steve Sarkisian a night ago on just how the rapport is going between Ewers and those new guys. So we'll hear from Sark today in KXAN News at 6 on that very thing.
Yes, we will. So just channel 36 over the air, by the way, in case you didn't know. In case you didn't know. I promised you an AP poll. There it is. This is just the top 10. Does it look a lot like the coaches poll we showed you last week? Yes, it does. The only difference is that Penn State and Michigan State are flip-flop between 8 and 9. Georgia, you're number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Oregon, a Big Ten member. That's still weird to say. Yes. Texas, they're at 4, just like the coaches poll. Bama 5, Ole Miss 6, Notre Dame 7. The aforementioned Penn State and Michigan, 8 and 9. And then Florida State, the lone ACC representative, there at 10. Thoughts, Noah?
I mean, I have no problem with the poll. I feel like those teams are kind of how you have to rank them. If it was up to me, I'd probably put Texas at 6 behind Alabama and Ole Miss, especially with the injuries that Texas has suffered in the running back room as of late. Again, we'll hear more.
Sure. The poll came out Monday, though. So.
Yes. But I'm just saying, if it was me, and I'm ranking it right now. That's why I said I have no problem with the poll right now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, okay.
Man, some people just don't listen anymore.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably put Texas 6. I've been an advocate of Ole Miss being a very good team this season. I mean, clearly top 10 preseason ranking shows that. But yeah, Alabama and Ole Miss to me are right there with Texas, and I think probably should be ahead right now. But nobody's played a game. None of this stuff really matters. And then I guess the bottom of the poll, the only thing is I put Florida State ahead of those Big Ten teams as well, who are – Penn State's just a perennial, like 11 to 14 team, like pretty good, but can't get quite over the hump. And then Michigan replacing an unbelievable amount of talent. We talked about that game from a Texas perspective, kind of getting some new guys into some new roles. Michigan as well. So that one will be, might look like a scrimmage, at parts during the game with some very talented players, but not a lot of chemistry built up on either side.
And you dogging on Penn State has nothing to do with your allegiance to Maryland, right?
I mean, Maryland didn't get a single vote. Unfortunately, I'll write a handwritten letter to every single voter about the Terps. But no, I mean, Penn State, beats Maryland by 60 every year. It's just that they don't. Competing with the big dogs has never really been something that they're able to do.
It's just fun to razz you a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do.
It's a good time. All right. Well, I mean, as far as anything else. Texas-wise here in the early goings, and I kind of point this out in our web article on KXAN.com, that right now, in sort of like this, it's sort of in like this area of limbo when it comes to practice time, because it's not close enough to the first game, August 31st against Colorado State, to start game planning, but it's far enough away from the beginning of camp that the excitement is kind of worn off. So, I mean, is there what can we actually like learn about this team right now, Noah? Do you think?
Well, there's scrimmages going on, and I mean, then we just kind of have to listen to what the team coach and the players say about it. And Coach Sarkisian he says his name like Sarkisian, even though I was told to say it like Sarkisian. So I'm going to start saying Sarkisian because he's not saying his own name.
Right? You'd think anyway.
Yeah. So Coach Sarkisian has said. The response from the scrimmage has been really good, and, watching a ton of tape, as they always do, and then the coachability, as he said, I believe was the word he used, talking about his players, and that's been good. He's liked the response as well. So kind of what he's seen from the scrimmage and beyond that has been good. And then it's just as they continue to scrimmage and practice and hear from the players on maybe how they deal with these injuries that are popping up. You know, the Baxter one is different than is Clark or anybody else because Baxter's out for the season and they know that, so they just have to adapt. If it's, you know, a guy getting banged up here and there and, you know, their availability is kind of up in the air for the next week, the next game, things like that, then it's talking about, okay, who would be the next guy? Is there someone waiting in the wings? And Texas overall, very well positioned if there are injuries coming their way. Sarkisian and staff have done an incredible job of keeping people around who might transfer otherwise because there's not a ton of playing time in front of them. And coach has said, you know, he's honest with these players. He doesn't tell every running back that they try to get, hey, you're going to get 35 carries a game. It's, you know, this is realistic. You'll work for it. So they have depth in a lot of places, particularly in the wide receiver room. But, you know, things are getting tested quick, Billy, in the running back room. And there's a couple areas where they are a little bit thin, so they do have to stay healthy.
Yeah, so we'll just have to monitor that as time goes on. I believe the player's going to be able to talk late tonight, so we won't be able to get you that until Wednesday here at the latest. But
well, it'll be on KXAN News at 10.
We're going to turn around that quickly?
Of course, man.
Okay, all right. Because I believe the availability is around like 9, but it is Zoom, so we can record it and put it up on the old TV here fairly quickly. So you have that to look forward to at 10 tonight. Tune in to hear from the Texas players here in this, third week of training camp?
Yeah.
Third week, yeah.
Yeah, and as we said, scrimmage last week, so inching closer to actual games for the Horns.
We're getting close. So we'll keep you updated on the injury to Christian Clark. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but early reports say it is, but you don't know until you know. So that'll do it for this episode of the Horns Report. For Noah Gross, I'm Billy Gates. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again very soon.